There. Good. No, yeah. No, it's all right. Still sick and sleep. She's like, I'm pretty sure I said no to you.
Good evening. I now call this Village of Hebron Council meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Please stand as you're able and join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf.
Here.
Mrs. Stoner.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Here.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman. Yes. Mrs. Porter.
Yeah. Thank you, council. We have quorum. Thank you, visitors, for attending this evening. If you have not already done so, please sign in and get a copy of the agenda. There will be opportunities to speak at 2 points in the agenda, labeled visitor comments. Minutes will be recorded and provided to council for review. Meeting minutes are official once they are approved by village council and by a majority vote. Today's minutes will be made available once approved and posted in this office, the post office, and made available online. Each department in the village provides routine updates to village council and the public. Tonight, we will receive an update from Water Superintendent Jason Figgins and also Water Reclamation Superintendent Tom Coleman. This evening we'll start with Mr. Figgins. Hold it in. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Good evening, council.
Hello.
Has everybody received a copy of my report? Okay. Tonight we're gonna do a little different order of which information was presented to you. We're gonna start with the back 2 or 3 pages. And just very briefly, these two components are gonna be what go to the public. First of which is the backflow cross connection control information pamphlet. This was the requirement from the sanitary survey back last summer from the agency that was distributed to all the residents, just as an informational campaign. I assume everybody got one in their water bill. Good.
That was mailed out in the March, Billy.
And then the last 3 pages are the 2024 Consumer Commerce Report, which we're required to distribute to all the customers through the Safe Drinking Water Act. This is just a draft copy that I'd like to present to council to show some of the language that's going to be included in. Typically, in the past, we have sent over copies to the agency for them to do a courtesy read, which is just pretty much a quick look over to make sure that we have all the mandatory language that the law requires us to have, along with the representative findings of tests of samples of things that we collected. Again, this was just a draft form. This is just due to be distributed in July, by July 1st. Okay. Very first page, just some very quick information here. The first quarter water production so far this year compared to the last 5 years is down about 3%. We're 535,000 give or take gallons a day is what we're producing on average. This trend has steadily declined, due in most part, I think, because of the utility billing system audit we did a couple of years ago. I think that it's made our customers wake up and conserve water, be more conscientious of the value that water has Um, And moving on down a little bit, we did get our staffing issues ironed out. We hired back Cody Sanford. He began back with us in January of this year. Fortunately enough, that's curbed the training requirements, obviously, since he kind of got a running start from the previous time he was here, so glad to have him back. Some project updates, well, number 7, pretty much the first phase of construction is complete. That's the actual drilling, installation of casing, so on and so forth. The last couple of reports, I think I've gave you updates. We had come across a sanding issue. When the well was exercised or pump tested, we were getting large volumes of sand. A couple of images to kind of show you the comparison. The solution to the problem was to install a liner inside of the screen. Picture on the left is the sand before the screen liner, and the picture to the right is after. So it is very, very effective. Any questions about any of that?
It's after how many gallons?
That's just at the rate of 100 or 1,500 gallons per minute. It wasn't a complete full pump step test again. It was just basically gauge if the screen was going to be more evenly, the water was going to come more evenly across the screen, which it is. It's effective, very effective. This might be a solution for well number 4. Well number 4 has a similar issue. It has the flower sand problem, so. And then there's just a little bit of an update as far as the scheduling for distribution system projects, which also includes roadway surface resurfacing, as well as some storm culvert work. This is the most current schedule so far. I just kind of went through and highlighted a few of the notable issues, which this report seemed like there was several compared to the last few. Vehicle strikes to hydrants. But I guess the focal point one that I really wanted to really talk about is the generator fuel. If you can recall last report, I mentioned that we had a large accumulation of algae and water that was getting into the tank that was on the outside. The 2 pictures above are the ventilation to that tank that kind of show what we felt was one of the reasons the cap on the picture at the top left-hand corner faced up, so pretty much rainwater. We made it to where it had a downturn 90 so that the water can't obviously come back through. And then after the fuel polishing was complete, there's before and after pictures. Now, the picture, I guess, kind of doesn't really do it justice. It looks about the same, but there was definitely a difference. I'll give you my word on that. They had some issues with some power wiring through some conduits to one of our information platforms at the plant, which is the lime silo. Those 2 pictures there are just broken wires and wires that burn in 2. Probably damaged during construction 22 years ago. It just happened to rear its ugly face. And I guess kind of lastly, I'll talk about number 5 and the notable issues along with my topic awareness. And that is, we had a problem at the corner of Sands and West Cumberland Street back in December. Water coming up out of the ground. Found that we had another valve bonnet failure. So these bolts that they put on these valves back in the 90s are not we're not the corrosion resistant stainless steel as they are today. Perfect segue into the topic of awareness. So when I say corrosion resistance, the AWWA, which is the standard that we have to follow with all of our valves, piping, meters, things of that sort, that are used to distribute water, have to fall within certain specifications. These pictures, the first 6 pictures are just instances that I could randomly pull off of the camera roll on the computer to show these are problems that we've had since I've been here, the 12 years I've been here. So basically, to summarize things and not overcomplicate it, everything that has been put in the ground from 1995 to 2003 is very susceptible to the inferior zinc plated hardware, keeping the bolts and the bonnets bolted together on the valves. There was a lot of waterline work in the mid-90s, early 90s, mid-90s. This potentially could turn into a capital project, meaning that we would have to go and visit each part, all sides of the system, and actually physically look at every valve to see if we are in a very high susceptible failure instance. Very, very jumbled words. I'm sorry for that. We just need to look at everything and make sure that we're not gonna have a problem like you see in the picture at the very, very top where there's Jason Fagan standing there in the red truck and water gushing out of the ground with the valve box sticking up this far. So yeah, we're in the process of getting an inventory and a tally of what we think is going to be potential problem areas. Some other quick statistics in that regard is since 2013, we've had a total of 38 depressurizations or interruption of service to customers. 9 of those have been just to fix valves. We have been fortunate enough to fix 8 or 10 of these valves on fire hydrants or just out in the main without the need to depressurize, with being very creative, safely using C clamps and different tools to just change bolt out. So I guess, I mean, that's kind of where we're at with our valve issue. It could turn into a capital project because we've got a lot of valves that are in concrete, that are in the middle of the roads, trying to get things scheduled when the state's going to resurface, Main Street, so on and so forth. So could be quite a project.
Said all the bolts were up to standards back in the 90s. They must have been up to standards too, and obviously they didn't work. So you went from zinc to stainless bolts.
Yeah, so even further back in the 1950s, valves and the valve casings were built to corrode together with the pipe. They used a very viscous material like a tar to make the whole valve casing deteriorate together. Yes, in the mid to late 80s, they switched technologies. The AWWA standards changed to a different style of mechanics inside the valves, and they used epoxy coating because these new, what they're called resilient wedge, were rubberized and they needed smooth surfaces to seal. What the standard didn't take into consideration and learned the hard way is they made the casings and the bonnets so corrosion resistant that it targeted the bolts, even with the energy waves of the water moving through the pipe deteriorated. It made it the cathode. It wasn't until after 2003 is when the manufacturers were starting to get complaints of failures that they realized that the zinc plated was the issue. They changed it. Now it's 304 stainless steel is the minimum. So yeah.
That American made stainless.
No. We go a little step further. We use 314 stainless steel, which has a little higher nickel and cadmium content for more corrosion resistance because we don't want these things to come apart.
So you're what, to put a plan together to go check them all and
Oh,
not
yeah.
wait for them to.
Yes. With the hope and goal of not having to interrupt service as minimally as possible. Yes,
Sounds like you better order a bunch of bolts.
we have.
So you're actually just changing the bolts. You're not doing anything with the valve.
When we can. Instances like what happened in December over by Sands Drive, that was a failure. And those valves were installed in, I believe, 1994. It's just gonna be a matter of going through drawings, paperwork, and the archives, the target areas where
These are cats, those valves cat.
ductile,
So
Once you
you
could-
could break the mold, it's susceptible to crack then. Because the pressure coming off of it.
they're not as susceptible now, but I mean, they've got O-rings, they've got some elasticity to them.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I do have a question. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual mechanics of water distribution. And that is, who is responsible for maintenance, the outer maintenance, the fire, plug, so to speak?
Fire hydrants. Fire hydrants. So, yeah, that's up to us, as a municipality and it being a component of our water system, it is up to us to maintain those. Talking about paint.
There's a lot of deterioration, and I would know we just had winter and so on and so forth. But it indicates that's an outer thing that people can see.
Mhm.
And they may deduce from seeing that the rest of the system is that way. But I think it's important that it's visible, the maintenance and the painting looks good.
Mhm.
And that's a good advertisement for the community, otherwise it just looks like it's not maintained.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, driving through other communities, that's one of the first things I look at. Probably because that's what I do for a living,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I do look at it and it gives me a reading really quickly about the rest of the community, and if you've got half of the paint falling off in chunks. Or worse, no paint at all.
yeah,
It just doesn't speak well of the community.
yeah. I know historically, when the village had its own fire department, it was a cooperative effort between the water department and the fire.
Yeah, I
House.
can remember,
And,
my husband was painted the
yeah,
fireplace.
yeah, so it's on our schedule to do. It's just gonna be a matter of freeing up staff to do it.
Oh, I understand that.
It's,
I know that, but I don't want to wait till next year this time, and I'm asking the same question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're probably to the point where there's so many coats of paint on some of these hydrants that we're gonna
That's
need to
exactly
sand
right.
blast
And
it and starting
If
all the way
flakes
over.
off,
Yeah,
it's lots of coats on.
we tried to use high pressure water and wire brushes last time. I wanna say that was 2018 or 19. And it didn't. It
And
didn't
that
work.
takes it all over the grass and everything.
Yeah.
That looks worse.
Yeah,
Okay, that's all. So I just want to. I did not know exactly which department was responsible.
yeah, yeah, we had volunteers I think it was 2018 or 19 that come through. I believe it was
We tried Cub Scouts one year too, and that didn't work out.
yeah.
They had too much more paint on them.
It was
Do you remember who it was?
United
Chris?
Way.
United Way. Yeah, that's right. It was volunteers from United Way. Yeah, it's on our list to do. It really, really is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Now we have, Mr. Coleman.
Hello, everyone. I'm gonna try to make mine a little shorter than Jason.
Hard to top that.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, hard to top it.
Yes, very much so. He's very detailed, that's for sure. I'm assuming like Jason, you guys received my report as well. Not much going on down there, yet. We're heading that direction though. Through March, we treated 51.576 million gallons. We completed 2 rounds of the pre-treatment inspections. Our next round is next Thursday. We made the decision to send out, the process is when we go into the inspections, we do what's called an entrance interview. And we just kind of go through their changes, any changes in process, employment, hours, things of that nature. So it takes about half hour to 45 minutes of the actual process. So John Hunt and I kind of tossed around the possibility of sending that portion of the inspection out and let them answer the questions and give us the feedback. And then, it's just kind of anything we need to go over, we can do that at that time. It doesn't take quite as long. We can do the tour, do the exit interview, and then we're done. So we started that, didn't work. It didn't work out very well the last time because it was like a 2-day, it was set out 2 days before our inspection, and only one facility had responded. So I asked Stephen and Michael to send that out a little earlier. So I talked to Stephen yesterday, and he's hoping to have Michael send it out first later this week or first part of next week. So still kind of cutting it close, but we'll see how that works, and then we'll go from there. I contacted a few contractors to start working with the I&I repairs and stuff like that. So one contractor had sent information for a what's called a quick lock repair, which basically it's a stainless steel system where there's a rubber gasket around the stainless steel. They can insert what basically a balloon, if you will, and pressurize it and stick it to the piping.
Alignment.
Yeah, basically lining it, yeah, just a different, kind of a newer process. And another option we have is, it's called HGAC buy, which is helping governments across the country buy. So basically, it's the state bid for this type of repairs, this type of work, similar to what you would do to purchase a vehicle via state bid. So I sent some information on the Junk On. Once we get our schedules to coordinate, I want to go ahead and go over that, see what we can do with that. We're meeting with Mike Crane on Friday to do some I&I discussions. Maybe we can talk about it then. We also are in the process, as you guys are aware, of getting the ABW filter repaired, replaced. So they sent out a submittal, which we received last month, and Keith and I reviewed it. Jung Han, I'm sure he looked at it as well. I had some questions and stuff, got those all taken care of. So I signed the submittal for approval on April 7th. And parts delivery is scheduled for 18 to 22 weeks. And still looking at a late July, early August start date. So once we get that going, they're going to let us know when the parts will be delivered, and then I'll coordinate with CJ to get either the backhoe or skid steer or something out to offload everything. It's got to be stored inside, so we're going to move our crane truck out and store it in that larger bay that's down at the plant. And then a couple other things that they are sending are kind of more climate controlled. So it's tape and caulking. So those are going to be offloaded and put in the old administration building on the other side, where it's air conditioned and things like that. So it's not setting out in the heat of the garage through that time frame. And then we're getting ready to start the UV season. Disinfection begins May 1st, ends October 31st. So we're going to drain out the tanks, the post aeration tanks, got algae built up on the side, things like that. So that's an annual process that we do. Hose out the clarifiers, the troughs around the clarifiers where the effluent flows into before it goes to the filters, gets algae built up in there as well. So get that all cleaned up. And then we'll install the UV system. We got to add cleaning chemical. We got to add grease because it's a self-cleaning apparatus on each one of the tubes. When it calls for cleaning, it goes through a cycle, and then it automatically cleans the bulbs. So there's grease involved with that.
Tom, can you share with council the rainfall last weekend? How did that impact the treatment numbers?
Oh, yeah. We got close to 4 inches, over 4 inches of rain, and we had approached 2.5, 3 million, 2 or 3 days during this large rain event. And our design is 1.5. So it was very touch and go, to say the least. Because there's always that fear of the influent wet well going down, pumps going down, lift stations going down, all of that. So it's just a very, very scary situation. So the plant come through with it without no issues, no shutdowns, anything like that. So everything worked out good. So luckily. So
You have trouble with the pumps down by the firehouse?
Not this go round, but in the past, it has, kicked out. It's just a matter of going here and going down there and hitting the reset buttons.
I know mine. Sort of gurgled every once in a while.
Did it?
That's,
Yeah.
that's a key sign for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
The pump is out.
Yeah, and you know, and that pump, that lift station gets, you know, quite a bit of flow, so it does have a difficult time keeping up. So when we get, you know, rain events like that large, but, yeah, it never kicked out. Just had a difficult time keeping up, and with the new, level sensing devices that we have in there, we can manually, you know, turn on pumps and things like that, whereas the old sensors, we did not have that option. So we're able to look at that, monitor it a lot more closely with this new system we installed a couple years ago. With that, I believe that's it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I could back up Jason for a second. Something I thought about.
Tell me to come up.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Sure.
Well, I'm looking at the lead in the drinking water.
Yes.
I noticed on the news the other night, they said that Columbus is replacing a lot of the galvanized lines on all older homes. We should have most of the new stuff built after 70, should be copper, but some of the stuff down the main drag should be galvanized.
So, yeah, I think what you're referring to is the galvanized that is downstream or that was downstream of a lead service line at some point is probably what you're talking about, because those do require replacement alongside of the lead service lines in general.
Yeah.
All the records out here reflect in the public right of way is all copper.
Okay.
Service line wise. Inside the houses is a little bit different story. That's on the customer side.
Now, I'm only talking to service, you know, because that's all they were doing, replacing, they were pulling of course, you know, they're just yanking up the galvanizing and pulling the copper back in.
Yes,
But,
yes.
no, that was just the service.
Yeah.
What's in your house, that's your pocket.
Yeah, so the only galvanized service line in the ground that I had found in any records was to the school, 2 inch going to the school. Everything else is copper or ductile or universal cast from the 1930s.
It's good, thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Thank you. We have this time reserved on the agenda to hear comments from visitors regarding topics not listed elsewhere on the agenda. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record. There's a minute per speaker, and we're eager to hear what you have to say, so please speak loudly and clearly into the microphone. Thank you. Any visitor comments?
That must be me. Hi, how is everybody?
Good. Did you have a moment to sign in?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Great. Will you start with your name and address?
Yeah, my name is Joel Meadows and I live across the street at 204 Christopher Court. It actually backs up to the field, which is kind of why I'm here. I work for a plumbing company in downtown, and they work for MI Homes. I was kind of wanting to know some information Monday, but there wasn't a meeting. So that's why I'm here.
There wasn't a meeting about their development,
Is that
the
what that
planning and
is?
zoning? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, you're welcome to say anything you want to say here.
Okay.
We anticipate having a main meeting, but we only have planning and zoning meetings when there's something to actually decide on the agenda. And this month we didn't have anything, but we would be delighted to hear anything that you'd like to share with us.
As far as I know, I was hoping to hear stuff, but and the other thing I had was, if there is a meeting cancellation in the future, how would I
know
be
that it's
able to know
canceled.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So we actually posted on social media. We have a village Facebook page where we post that.
Okay,
We also have it on our website as well. Trying to think.
Office and library, we posted them as well, and here.
Okay.
okay,
Yeah. If you use Facebook, that might be the easiest place to check. And the website, you can self-serve and check right before the meeting if you want to as well, if that would be
Okay.
helpful.
okay. All right.
Is there any particular concern that you want to share or?
I just thought, it's pretty cool if the MI homes would be almost in my backyard and I'd be able to go to work and wake up and basically walk there instead of driving. Yeah,
Well, we would love that too, to have you here in the village working, of
Yeah.
course, yeah, absolutely. Do you know anything about the agenda for May?
So we're about 99% sure that they will be on the May meeting, which is May 5th. We just had some final engineering to work through and some comments.
okay,
The plan was for them to originally be at the April meeting, but now we're looking to May. We are getting close. As you can see, they have installed their construction drive. They're going to be putting in some dirt. But we're moving along. The development's about 129 homes, so hopefully that'll keep you busy for some time.
okay,
And we
Awesome.
do have plans in the office, and if you ever need any additional information, you are always welcome to call into my office and ask any questions that you may have. I'll make sure you get my business card on the way out.
okay, yeah, I was. With the Microsoft news lately and the Intel being pushed back, I was. Kind of worried if the MI was gonna back out or
I've
something.
been given no indication that any of our housing partners are backing out on their plans to move forward with development in the village.
All right, awesome, cool.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Manis.
Yep.
Okay, the next item is legislation. The first item in legislation is ordinance 0425. It's an ordinance to amend ordinance 32-24 to provide for adjustments of the annual appropriations for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency. This is the third reading, and I'm seeking a motion to adopt ordinance 0405. No, 425.
So moved.
Okay.
And I'm so sorry. Did we need to suspend? No, we don't, I'm sorry. No, I don't need-
I don't think you have.
I need more, I needed more caffeine today. I'm sorry. So, sorry, we have a motion and we have a second. The motion is from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Stoner. Sorry about me getting mixed up in there. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Noe,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman,
Yes,
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Stoner,
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you, council. The next item is resolution 2503. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor of the village of Hebron to execute an agreement with the Licking County Board of Commissioners to enter into a renewed bulk water sales agreement. This is the third reading. I am seeking a motion to adopt resolution 2503.
So be it.
Second.
I have a motion from council member Nauer and a second from council member Porter. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Stoner,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
yes,
The motion passes. Thank you, council. The next item is resolution 25-04. It's a resolution enacted by the village of Hebron of Licking County, Ohio, hereinafter referred to as the local public agency, LPA, in the matter of the stated described project to develop a multi-use path and related work along Canal Road, part of Cumberland Street and Canal Park in the village of Hebron. This is a third reading. Looking for a motion to adopt resolution 2504. And just as a reminder, this would then continue that greenway that was paved in the fall that goes all the way down to the Eagles. So right along Canal Road, this would now connect that all the way up through Canal Park, up to the existing sidewalk and widening the sidewalk up to
Widening,
make.
yes.
Yeah, so it'll make it a really nice thoroughfare. Oh, moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Council Member Stoner and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Chapman? Yes. Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Nauer?
Yes.
Stoner?
Yes. Thank you, Council. It passes. The next item is Resolution 2505. It's a resolution certifying delinquent property maintenance bills to the Licking County Auditor for collection. This is the second reading. The next item is Resolution 2506. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor of the Village of Hebron to execute an agreement with V3 Companies Ltd. To enter into a professional services agreement. This is the first reading. Are we anticipating going all three readings?
No, I think at the next meeting, I will ask for, suspending the reading and adopting the, resolution.
Okay,
We can do that now if you like.
I mean, I prefer it, but if you want more time, that's fine.
I'll make the motion to suspend the reading, adopt the resolution,
You guys do one or one?
suspend the reading.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion to suspend the additional readings of Resolution 2506 from Councilmember Carpenter and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Chapman? Yes. Mr. Nauer?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. It passes. And now I need a motion to adopt Resolution 2506.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Carpenter and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Nauer?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner?
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman? Yes.
Thank you, Council. It passes. Thank you. That'll get us moving on that more quickly. I appreciate that. The next item is Resolution 2507. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor of the Village of Hebron, Ohio, to execute an agreement with the Licking County Health Department to enter into a mosquito control program contract. This is the first reading. Okay. The next item is the March 2025 bank reconciliation. I'm seeking a motion to acknowledge the receipt and review of the March 2025 bank reconciliation. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Council Member Stoner and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner?
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman? Yes. Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Thank you. It passes. The next item is a acceptance of land donation.
Can you pass it down? I have asked mayor to pass the, maps, so I can explain to you, what portion of the land that we are considering, accepting. The first, when I get to the first map is titled parcel number 1. And
Oh.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we have an extra.
Yeah, this is a big parcel that is disjointed in many different ways. This is from the Southgate. And the second map shows the parcel number 2. Okay? The land to be donated is going to combine part of the parcel number 1 and part of the parcel number 2. So it's the third map that really shows you the area of the land that will be considered for donation. In essence, it starts from the intersection of Capitol and Enterprise all the way to the curve on O'Neill. Basically along the South Fork Licking. The total area is about 45, 46 acres. They have looked at donating this chunk of land, to the village. And the only expenditure that, our solicitor and I've been talking about is we need to do the survey. And we also need to get the environmental, affidavit from the owner, meaning that there was no illegal dumping and those kind of things. And go back to and early on, when this site was developed, it was never, clearly carved out each individual portion. So when you look at the parcel number one, it's a long and very oddly shaped. And the other part is that they would like to keep some valuable asset as well, like railroad, they want to keep it. I mean, that's how they support their tenants. So this is the information I am, asking the solicitor, for your, from your approval to draft the language accepting the donated land from Southgate. So the cost is a little less than $10,000.
Is it in Hebron Village limits or is it in Union Town?
It is attached to the Hebron. Part of it is in Hebron, but most of them are not in Hebron.
If you look to what's the motive? Are they just being nice guys?
Couple of things. Yes,
Yeah,
they,
I kind of doubt, but
yeah,
what's in it for them?
couple of things. It is not able to develop
Because,
because either it's too narrow or it's in the floodplain.
what would we expect to do with property that can't be developed?
We could use that as a retention for our flood improvement. Or we could use that as a active part of recreation purpose.
This narrow stuff between the buildings here, would the people that own the buildings on either side rather have it? I wonder why they haven't offered to sell it to them or,
This is the big, this is,
but what's all this yellow? Isn't this
That's-
yellow?
yeah, that's the railroad and what have you.
No, they are not, they're not,
That's
so
not part
only
of
the
it.
railroad to us,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what it
yep,
Okay, so it's just the black, it's not the
correct,
parcel one or
it's
two.
correct,
Okay,
it's correct.
just, okay.
So once we accept this, well, then we'll annex that property.
We can, and also it gives us the access to the river. To clear
I was gonna bring it up, yeah.
it's correct,
That's the thing that I'm most interested
Right, me
in,
too.
is getting.
You get access to
all
that,
of it.
where we can clean out that river.
Yes.
I know,
You play hell getting down in there to
so be it.
it.
So this is just extra malarkey.
Yeah.
The parcel one even has.
We'll get down to it, won't we?
I don't understand why we have this.
Okay, just to clarify, the page 3,
Yeah, but what
if
if
you look at the dark lines
just the black?
yes,
within the black area, and if you see the yellow that kind of dissects that, everything above that is currently outside of the village. So, but all of that, if we get access to it and we're able to clean out any log jams, the reason why we care about that is everything we loosen there allows the water to flow out of the village more rapidly. So some of this is about controlling our destiny here.
Right, right.
If we really want to fight flooding, we need to have as much control as we can get to clean it up.
But you also have to have a lot of money to do that, because you can't just dig it out and set it along the bank, you have to haul it away.
Understood, but I can tell you this, if we don't control the land, we can't apply for any grants, right? Like, this goes back to what we talked about with the elementary. If we don't own it, we can't control it. And nobody has motivation to go do this more than the village of Hebron.
So if we own it, that means we have to take care of it.
Well,
when necessary.
I mean, that's true for everything we own, right?
Well, what I'm saying is, I'd personally like to walk at it area, Well, like you said, once you get it surveyed, then
Yeah.
walk and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Will that require maintenance such as mowing and
For the most part, no,
No.
it does not,
because?
because it's already, it's
It's too steep.
wooded areas and, yeah. Or the back, or its slope is too steep.
I'm kind of curious, up there beside Speedway. What's with that? That's kind of crazy. Why is that little park there?
Again, that's why I
As you
said,
said, they said this doesn't mean.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I was
it
looking
makes
at.
no sense when they develop this. And they just let bits and pieces and yeah, that's why they,
But that wouldn't be included, right?
it will not be, no, that is,
That's the
that is,
black.
yeah, that is
So
correct.
that's what they're wanting to give us.
The
The yellow,
black outline is the one that, yes,
but what's the yellow?
the yellow one is the one that they want to they will retain for their own purpose.
Wait, are you talking
And
about yellow?
parcel number one,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, parcel one,
Yeah.
yellow. This is the area over here.
that's correct.
Okay.
Page 3 is a little of parcel 1 and a little of parcel 2.
Really need
That's what it
tonight.
looks like.
Direct the solicitor to draft the legislation for consideration, adopting.
Can it be sent who the
So what
donor
is
is?
the yellow?
Yes, Southgate. Yes,
The yellow assist.
If you look at the right-hand side of parcel 1 and parcel 2
There you
pages,
go. Yes, thank
you
you.
can see them. The other thing I'll say, to address, Councilmember Porter's question, is this out of the kindness of someone's heart? I think that strategically, if I own this property and many more in our area, I don't know that I'd be interested as a business owner to go and clean up the log jam, right? But by donating it to a municipality, then that municipality can apply for federal funds and other funding to address the log jam. And I do also think that he's trying to work with us on different concerns that we have.
absolutely.
So,
Because, we had a meeting with Southgate along with the Stream and Creek Foundation and the Licking County Water and Soil Conservation, talking about these questions. Because it is part of the flood management.
motion,
Yes, I put in motion, yes,
okay, do we have a second?
And what was the motion?
to
Draft legislation.
draft legislation to
I'll second.
accept the property.
Second.
I'm sorry, okay. I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Porter. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes,
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes,
Mr. Nauer,
No,
Mrs. Chapman. Yes, Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. The motion passes. Next item is administrator's report.
Two quick reports. We have just made offer to two individuals to fill the equipment operator 1 and the part-time labor position. And we will be conducting interview this Friday and Monday, for the assistant superintendent, position. And we are also have the labor position out, and then that, is open until filled. So right now we have quote unquote 3 positions, and we are, hopefully we can fill the, all 5 position, sometime very soon. And the second update is the county just had the bid opening on the Sugar and Broadway culvert replacement, yesterday. We only have one bidder, so we are going to look at whether we will accept that bid, or we would, look at rebid, that project, in hope to get more contractors. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Okay, the next item is council member reports. It's an opportunity for each council member to share a report of any old or new business with the body. Would you like to start?
I don't really have anything.
Okay. Councilmember Stone, sorry, I do not, thank you, okay.
No.
Okay. Councilmember Now.
The only thing I wanted to bring up, we were talking about the path coming through. The connecting the canal to the downtown. I was reading the projects for the state for Licking County, and they're doing the path from 40 to Chrisland Hill bike path, which I thought was interesting. I didn't know it was even in the works. So that's supposed to happen this year.
Was it Christian Town?
Huh?
Was up to Christian Town?
From 40 to Chrisland.
It's probably the old railroad bed, I'm gonna guess.
Must be, yeah, connecting the
'Cause it,
canal.
yeah, it stops right
connect
there
all the way to
at,
Keith, 'cause
school, yeah.
Park, the way I have friends parked
I
there.
was trying to
before
think of
going
what-
Keith.
But yeah, the old railroad bed goes down.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
I think so, 'cause
Just-
there you go.
Interesting thought.
The only thing I have is I see some construction going on there. And I wasn't aware of that, so I kind of got a surprise. I was driving over here. So could somebody elucidate about what that is?
Would you speak to that, please?
That is in my home in their construction drive that they have installed, where they're gonna be delivering dirt so that when the project is ready, they will be full force and ready to go. So right now, it should be just limited to installing their construction drive and the drop off of dirt for the site. And then we're working towards the final plans before you see anything actually physically go up construction wise.
It may sound like a weird question, but do we have any idea where this dirt's coming from?
From other sites.
But I mean, is anybody, I know there's been in the past, at different locations, dirt was coming from a certain area that it should never even come to Hebron. That's what I worry about.
I don't have any regulations to be able to monitor if they haul dirt onto their site, the quality of dirt. That's probably EPA and things would have some involvement with that. We did request their NOI today to make sure that they should be moving any dirt at all on that site. And they just sent that right before this meeting.
Okay.
You're talking like contaminated dirt?
Yeah.
These are coming from other sites that they're under development currently, but I can ask for some more information and see what they can provide.
Who would determine that? Because.
I'm gonna have to do some more research. I'm not sure.
Particularly one
I don't know if-
Village.
Yeah, I'm not sure. From a zoning perspective, we care about the fact that when they're hauling in dirt, that could impact stormwater, so that's why that NOI was important. But I can get some more information for you on that.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because, there's lots of things happen in.
Mostly
most
every.
Unusual way.
Mostly every construction site in the village requires them to haul in dirt, given the fact that a lot of it is in floodplain or in a slope. Just similar to what
It
we're
is.
seeing at NCR besides Speedway as well.
And my objection isn't, if it is an objection, my observation
Yeah.
is that I'm not, I'm more concerned about the quality and the integrity of what might be hauled in and expose people unnecessarily, not only residents, but, everything is fine for 2 years and then bingo, we learn that it's not. And I think there ought to be some caution exercise on just hauling dirt in.
I understand. I'll find out some more information.
I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
If we know that this has been an issue in the past, do we know what council discussed in the past? Because we
Many
haven't,
years ago.
so it wasn't an issue with Pulte?
No.
Okay,
No.
okay.
And that would be a good stance to have this, but we don't know that.
Right, no, that's why I'm asking, like, what have we done historically if we've known it to be an issue? So, okay. Okay, so it sounds like we'll do a little bit of homework. Okay, thank you so much. Anything else?
I think that was it.
Okay, thank you.
Must have been.
For mayor's report, I just want to give a couple of updates. A couple of weeks ago, I attended the Licking County Agricultural Hall of Fame. It's the 31st year that they've done this. And I have the book if anybody would like to see what was in it. But they have recognized agrarian work in our county for many, many years. There are multiple Hebron names in here, which I thought was nice. But there were also some names that I definitely associate with agriculture that were nowhere in here. So might be an opportunity for us to highlight maybe some more of the folks who are doing this kind of work in our county. So if anyone's interested, I'd be delighted to share this with you to check it out. Debbie and I attended, CFO Morgan and I attended the Licking County local government officials conference for a couple of days. And there were some pretty thought-provoking sessions. And one of those had to do with having the auditor intentionally come and look at our operations and give feedback on that. So we're kicking around some different ideas to explore in the coming future. Also, I learned from Licking County Soil and Water that because of our participation in the program that they have, our residents get a 15% reduction in their flood insurance because we participate in these set standards to mitigate flooding in our community. And that discount actually covers 18,000 structures in the county. So it's a pretty big deal. So I'm glad that we are participating in that and we're doing what we can to stay in the good graces of that program. We are continuing the work on the bus route. It looks like we may be doing a ribbon cutting in the first day or two of July. Yep, we'll be keeping everyone posted on that. And we're really excited about it. We've had a couple of pretty in-depth sessions. This last one included Buckeye Lake mayor and also her utilities director. And then multiple of us here participated and just kind of hammered out where stops might be, discussed how long the route is, trying to make sure that we can get folks all the way up to Main Street if they want to go to LMH or something in Newark or a connecting bus ride, but also have lots of local service so people can pop on and go to Kroger, but then in a reasonable amount of time, get back on and get home. So we're just kind of working through some of those details. I will share with you Matt Allison, who now is heading that effort. He came to us from CODA and he shared with me that normally it takes about 18 months for a route to really establish clearly what the necessary stops are and what the stops are that you probably don't need. So it may take us a little while to nail it down, but we paid a lot of attention to the concentration of workforce housing or maybe where seniors are, where they might want to use the bus instead of driving. And then the last thing, the most obvious thing, you may have heard the small news about Microsoft pausing its project. We have been in contact with Microsoft. We're hoping to schedule an in-person meeting with their representatives. Hopefully it'll be this month. It might be in May, but we're hoping at that point they'll give us more direction, more clear understanding. My guess is they're probably still mapping out some of their own communication at this point. But I'm sure you've read this, but I just want to make sure I say it. Thus far, they've given us every indication that they plan to honor the agreements that they have in place with us. So that means we're still expecting them to participate in continuing Canyon Road down through to Route 40 and helping us with some of those infrastructure projects that we've all been thinking about. And I just appreciate that everybody has been level-headed about this. It could have been very stressful if, in addition to dealing with the reporters and the journalists and everything else, if also we were running around with our hair caught on fire. So thank you for the grace and thank you for being level-headed about the situation. When you are able to conduct in that way, it just makes everything a lot easier for us to get together and have a very proactive approach. And I sincerely appreciate that from each and every one of you. I'm sure you cannot talk to anybody without it being the very first thing they say. So thank you so much for that. If you have any questions, happy to entertain them here, but as it develops, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, reach out to Brittany. We're trying to be very careful in our responses because I really don't want residents to panic when we don't even know anything is actually bad. The other thing I've said to multiple reporters is I don't think any residents are going to be disappointed to see corn there. So we're delighted that they're going to still allow it to function in that way, at least for the foreseeable future. And I'm also super thankful that they weren't in the middle of building something, then we'd have some monstrosity over there. Yeah. So in some ways, I guess it is a bit of a blessing, but I just wanted to say thank you to council. Any questions?
I have a question for you, Mayor.
Yes.
On the flood insurance reduction. How are the community members able to take advantage of that? I know we had a big issue when they established all the increase in the rates. Are the residents in a position to where they know that that's happening or available, or is that just an automatic from insurance companies?
It's my understanding that it's automatic, so they may not even know that they're getting it, but if it went away, they'd notice. That's what I'm worried about. I just want to make sure that we're staying on top of it and communicating with the county that we are dependent upon them continuing to participate in that because we work with Soil and Water to maintain our standing in that program.
Well, as a resident who's in the floodplain who was assessed, my mortgage company takes care of that, and I'm not even aware of that. So maybe it would benefit that if we put out a social media post so that the residents can question their insurance companies, because a lot of it that's mixed in the mortgage, they're not even aware of it.
Okay.
Is the flood insurance still a federal program or does that go through a private insurer?
I thought it was federal, but actually I do not know that definitively. I'm sorry.
Is it still federal?
Thank you.
Yeah, still federal.
Did I answer your questions about Microsoft? Okay, good.
I would assume the plan on that for council is that we refer to you and Brittany on that. And
Well, I want to be clear. I don't want to silence anyone on council. I didn't want to be silenced as a council member. I don't want to do that either. But if you don't know the answer to a question, just say, I don't know, and you can offer to get back to them, or you can refer them to us. If you have concerns, I hope you'll at least communicate those to me. But you know, it is America, right? So I want you to know that this is your, it's your right as a council member and as a citizen to say what you need to say. But I do hope you'll work with us if you have concerns, and I do hope you'll reach out if you have questions, so we can try to get those answers for you.
I know for me, the questions that I've been feeling everybody's asking, is this the result of the tariffs?
Thank you so much for saying that, because I didn't answer that. So let's talk about the speculation. And I will say that I shared this with a journalist, so I'm sure it will be in print soon. When DeepSeek was announced, does everybody know what DeepSeek is? Okay, so some do, some don't. So it is a new approach. They have a new approach to generating AI content, so artificial intelligence content, but that content is generated at a fraction of the amount of energy and basically computational work of what other AI is able to generate right now. So when that was announced, it kind of was a blip in my head, but you know, I'm not worried about anything. But then towards the end of March, we received a message for requesting a meeting from Microsoft. And within that couple of days of building up to that meeting, I found a Reuters article that said Microsoft was clawing back tremendously on data centers investment. And so that kind of planted the seed. And then when we met, they said they were planning to pause the project. But like I said, I thought it was a lowercase pause, but based off of the press that they've given this week, the press releases this week, it seems like it might be an uppercase pause. So we're still waiting for direction from them. We actually, as a team, still haven't met with them. They're planning to come, like I said, either this month or next month to have an in-person. And I'm hoping during that meeting, we can get a solid understanding of how they envision the future and what they plan to do as far as the commitments they've made to the community and what they think their next steps will be. And of course, at that point, we will share that widely.
And still you want to think positive because they already own the land. So even if they don't do the data center, you know, improving the road, the construction, all that is just gonna help them sell that land down the road or do whatever they want to do down the road. So it's still a positive, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, even if they don't need data centers, if they need to build an office building, I really hope they come here. I just think it would be a good fit for the community. But yeah, it's not over till it's over, so. Any other questions? Okay. Last opportunity for visitor comments. Anything else?
I would really like to see a Costco here.
We need some leadership for Costco. I'm just saying, no pressure, Brittany, but it should probably be part of your evaluation.
Just so you know, my wife has been
Really sick
working
that
on a
day.
Cracker Barrel.
And a Trader Joe's, she's got my back. Brittany has, she's an honorary employee of the Economic Development Department.
Okay, unless otherwise noted, it's understood council members have reviewed the expense report provided and have no questions. Please note the upcoming meetings and events at the bottom of the agenda. And unless there's anything else, I'm seeking a motion to adjourn.
I can read that.
Second.
I have a motion from Council Member Porter, a second from Council President Wolf. Roll call, please. No.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Stoner,
Yeah.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Benauer,
Yes.
Chapman. Yes, Mrs. Porter.
This meeting of the Village of Hebron Council is now adjourned at 7:07 PM. Thank you.
That's okay.